So about a month and a half ago, I finished what people would probably call my first real gaming rig, and I ended up naming it the Killanova, which is what you see here, but it was missing one thing. RGB that actually kind of mattered. I always had this strip right here on the front, but I had nothing inside, so it was just kind of pitch black. I was rocking two mismatched 120mm fans and a rear 80mm fan, which was, it was kind of just adorable. So I ended up buying myself the most popular budget pack of fans on the market, the Up Here fans, and they're terrible. But around that same time that I bought those terrible fans, I ended up getting hit up by a company by the name of GIM for a review of their RGB fan Rgb Strip combo that was listed for $40 on Amazon, and it came with 3 120mm fans, 2 RGB strips. It actually seemed like a really good deal on paper, especially after having such a terrible experience with Up Here fans. They move no air. I could blow on my graphics card and it would be cooler than using these goddamn fans. Silver lining though, they work with a GIM fan controller, so now I have 6 synced RGB fans. But when trying to plug in the sync cable, there's an RGB sync cable for your motherboard, so that way the fans can just sync up to the RGB that's on the motherboard. I have a B350 board. I did not realize what I was doing at the time, and I almost caught my computer on fire. If I had video, I'd show you guys. It was fucking hilarious. But I don't, so I'm sorry. Since I already made a point about airflow, I suppose we can talk about that very quickly. These fans, even though I can't control the speed of them, which I would be able to if I had it connected to the motherboard, they're actually really surprisingly good. I plugged them directly into the fan controller, and they just worked. Not just worked, like worked really well. They pushed a lot of air. These are the fans in the front, and these 3 fans alone, if I decided to take out all the fans that were in here underneath the graphics card in the top, and then just leave the exhaust fan in, I guarantee my graphics card would not be significantly hotter than it is now. Like, these fans are great. We're gonna talk about the RGB aspects of the fans and the LED strip here in a second, but one thing I'd like to go over first is some very quick tech specs. I mean, the fucking fans. So like I said earlier, these fans do come with a fan controller, so you do not need any motherboard connections to use them. On top of that, it also comes with a very nice remote. It has more options than I think I've ever seen on any other RGB fan remote. I mean, Jesus. This is something we're going to talk about in a minute though. When it comes to the specs of the fans themselves, they are rated for a speed up to 1300 RPM, with a lifetime of 20,000 hours, and are rated for between 0 and 15 decibels of sound, which, for those who don't know, a buzzing mosquito is at about 40 decibels. I'm speaking at about 60 right now, so these fans make no sound at all. And in fact, the only actual sound that comes from my system is from my CPU on rare occasions, or my graphics card, which is kind of just always, have you had enough yet? I'm playing Minecraft right now, somehow I'm still loud. All this information was pulled from the Amazon listing, which I will have linked in the description below. I'll probably link the website down in the description below instead of Amazon, to be honest. One last specification that I'd like to go over real quick, and it's actually a really good segue, is the length of the RGB strip. Now, these RGB strips are solid. Like, really solid. They got magnets on them, and you know, it's pretty cool. It's just a foot fucking long. So the top of my PC is having a bit more of an issue fitting this in it. Oh shit, I didn't even realize. Yeah! I have an ATX mid tower, and the top is kind of just a mess because of all the cables from the front panel. On top of that, my case is $40, extremely budget. I bought it for a video that I still haven't made. So the metal is not actually magnetic. So the RGB strip I have in here is actually kind of shoved in there, and it is kind of hanging on by a few screws. So for my rig, not ideal. But on top of that, this might not be ideal for some other rigs because the cable here is a bit short, not even like super short, just a lot shorter than I expected it to be. So for someone who has a full ATX rig, this might be an issue, but I don't really know. I mean, it kind of just depends on your PC, your cable management setup. This might not work for some people. One thing I do have to say that's good and probably worth all the issues I've talked about these RGB strips is the fact that since there's this white plastic in between your eyes and the lights, this just seems like a solid color. There's no more little RGB lights like the ones I have underneath my desk here. It's just a solid color. It looks beautiful. These are really bright. Like, really bright when I turn them on white, dude. Like, I could probably use these for other things not related to PC gaming and be perfectly fine. And to be honest, I think that's actually more than worth all the issues I said I've had with these. And it's not even really issues, it's just personal issues because my rig is not really meant to have magnetic sticks in the top of the PC case. So the last thing we'll talk about is the RGB itself and the remote that this whole setup comes with. Thousands of modes, bro. It feels like there's thousands of modes. Multicolor, dual color, whatever color you want. You can do what I have going on here with the little wave thing. And on the remote, what's so cool is that you can control the speed of the animations. It says that you can control the speed of the fans, but I can't. I'm assuming it has to be plugged into the motherboard for that to actually work. There's also some DIY modes, brightness calibration for your RGB, and on top of all of this, music reactive modes. So it reacts to just any type of sound. So there's just one. I'm assuming the microphone's on the controller somewhere. It just reacts to whatever sound you got going on. So if I turned up some music, it'd probably work. But then you have this, which just... Then you got a solid color, which is pretty cool. Yeah. My balls itch. You could also turn them off if you want to, but there's no fun in that. When it comes to the RGB itself, it's actually really good, although I do wish that the animations for the RGB were a little bit smoother. When you start to slow them down, it starts to become really choppy. So that was something I wish was a bit different, but to be honest, it's actually not that big of a deal. I'll go through some of the RGB modes that they have, and I'll put them up on screen. I never really expect jack shit out of the products I get sent. I mean, I do, because I get emails every week for products that either don't match the channel or don't look like they're of good quality, and I usually just turn them down. And every time I do agree to have a product sent in for a review, I'm always kind of I'm on the fence a little bit, but every time I've been like pretty happy with the product, and this time is no different. I could definitely recommend these. You're getting 2 RGB strips of great quality alongside 3 RGB fans. They push a lot of air, the lights themselves are good, you don't need any type of cool fancy motherboard to use these, and on top of that, the RGB strip that it comes with is actually really good. While a bit limited, still pretty good. If you're a budget builder out there, you might want to head down to the description. There might be a little something that you might be interested in down there, you know? And if you went on to enjoy this video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe if you are new. But before we go, I need to shout out our members. The biggest of biggest shout outs to JG, Waterless, God, Exocasper, Noah Jacques, Ninzaki, Maynard Lano, Young, Kudakam, and Rockstar. I sincerely appreciate you boys, and if you yourself would like to become one of the boys, you can go and down below. But if you'll excuse me, I have a bunch of Playboy Cardi to listen to and a bunch of very toxic Twitter memes to look at, so I have to go in with protection. I'll see you guys here in a little while. Peace out.